usdebtclock.org. Here's what you need to know. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. America is in $31 trillion of debt. This is our U.S. national debt. We're never getting out of it. You can forget it. Hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions, $31 trillion is our U.S. national debt. But here's where it is getting ready to sting. If you are a tax-paying citizen in the United States of America and you are not wealthy, you are $246,000 in debt because of this number. You don't even know it. Your kids, because they are citizens, but they are tax-paying citizens. Your kids who are in high school and in elementary and in junior high school, they are already almost $100,000 in debt as a U.S. citizen. You didn't know that?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 43. It reads, "The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. So first and foremost, Kal Halayam, La Alahayanawa Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai Baal Shem Lakah Kodash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and the freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, along with the very few but faithful Akwat. We say shalom, shalom, shalom. I haven't have a title for this edification as yet, but nevertheless, you know, as you see the clip that I had played there, pursuant to the debt clock, you know, as to how much of trillions of dollars that America is in debt. All right, and that is one. And two, you know, pursuant to that, which is the more important one, you know, everyone that is born in the United States, you know, and what he forgets to mention, you know, what he failed to mention, because it plays an integral part in that debt. You know, everyone has a debt, you know, attached to them, and what have you, so forth. You know, an integral part of that debt attachment is your birth certificate. All right, because once you are registered, all right, and you have your birth certificate, all right, automatically there is a debt that is attached to you, that is tied to you, because the government, all right, they are the ones that does the big borrowing from the Federal Reserve and what have you, so forth, you know, with a high interest rate, which they never really pays back, but really and truly, the debt, you know, is actually transferred down to you. All right, it's transferred down to you, and especially you Jakes, you know, because this message is really to you Jakes. You give a ask about the rest of the other nations. You Jakes there in Babylon, even here too, because I'm pretty sure, all right, it's the same situation with us here. All right, because we have to go to the government, and go to the central bank to pay off the loans A matter of fact, I mean to get the loan, sorry. But what I want to say, a matter of fact, it is the same thing, because when they go out and when they go out and borrow from the central bank and what have you so forth, you know, the paying back of those loans is actually transferred down to us by the way of taxes and fines and what have you so forth. So yeah. So you see the oppression, you know. You see the oppression. You know, and that's the reason why I start off with that scripture there. Because we are in this land, we are in the land of our captivities, where we are yet subjected to payments and what have you so forth, you know. And we are the ones that, you know, is subject to the borrowing and what have you so forth, you know. We are the ones that, you know, this debt is attached onto us. Yeah. This debt is attached to us. In order for us to survive in this society, you know, we had to pay taxes and all these nonsense. Which actually goes back to this thing goes back all to Rome. You know, when it could go, let's take a look at Luke chapter 2 and 1. Alright. Let's see, right. So Luke chapter 2 and 1, it reads, "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree, Salakia, from Caesar Augustus, that all the world should be taxed." Right? The known world at that time, which was really basically the Roman provinces, all where Rome had control. Alright? And this taxing was first made in Cyrenius. Alright, and this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city. Alright? So it's the same Roman system. Alright, it's the same Roman system. Like for instance, the scripture don't lie when I go to Revelation 13 and 12. Revelation 13 and 12, I'll read from actually 11. Revelation 13:11, "And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon," which goes back into the two-party system. This is speaking of America. Alright, and their two-party system, you know. Those two horns represent their two-party systems, which actually basically is the same system that the same Roman system that they come into following. Because when you read verse 12, it says, "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him." Alright, because remember the scripture speaks of the beast had a deadly wound, you know, he was wounded and it healed. You understand? "And caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Alright? So the same system that, you know, was back then during the time of the Romans, alright, is the same system that we are living under here now, especially here in the Americas. You understand? This is what it is. So we in a system of taxation, being born into debt, alright, and taxation and what have you so forth, where basically we really can't see ourselves getting out of this hole. You know, it's like you're in a hole, alright, a deep hole, and it's like there's no way to come out of that hole. You know, it's like no way to come out. It's like no freedom, no freedom in sight. That's what it is. You understand? We in a system, you know, that's just designed to keep us in a dilapidated state. You understand? This is what it is. And with this here, because what I would say is this, and this is why the system is going to crash. Because as much as the debt is transferred onto the people, all right, as much as the debt is transferred onto the people, there's no amount of taxation and what have you, so forth. You know? No amount of taxation, they're taxing the people and what have you, so forth, to pay back that debt. No amount of taxation will be able to clear that debt. Because you have to understand, on an everyday basis, they just continuing to print money out of thin air, you know, and pushed into the economy and what have you, so forth. So it's just debt, building on debt, on debt, on debt, you know. So the debt will never be able to be cleared, no matter how much taxation it tax the people. That's why when you go to Zephaniah 1 and 10, Zephaniah 1 and 10, where it reads, "And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry for the that's now. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills." All right, which goes into the stock market and what have you, so forth, which goes into the world economy and what have you, so forth, because you have to understand, you know, the US dollar is the world reserve currency, right? And when that comes to a crash and hold, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of the world? All right, what do you think is going to happen to, you know, especially the West, you know, where the US dollar come to a crash and their economy, which is attached to the US dollar, what do you think is going to happen? Because again, remember, the US dollar is the world reserve currency. All right, if you take a look at the Japanese economy, you know, pursuant to the Japanese yen, you take a look at Germany, you know, and their economy and what have you, so forth, you know, and a couple of other European nations and their economy. Right now it's at a free fall. All right, it's at a free fall, you know, and this just goes to show the state of the world economy and where it's really heading to, the disastrous end as to where it's heading to. You know, as it says, verse 11, "Howl ye, inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off." All right, we in a rigged system. You have to understand this system was rigged from the beginning because there is an ultimate goal. You know, the elites, the powers that be, they wanted to be at a free fall. All right, they wanted to be at a free fall. That's facts. All right, because they have an agenda, and their agenda is that the whole world must fall into a whole new sphere of trade and commerce, which is digital currency, you know, and that digital currency will be accessed primarily through a technological device by the name of the RFID microchip. You understand? That's where it is. But for the mere fact that, you know, this thing is by design, you know, and you know, you Jakes thinking that you're free. You Jakes thinking that you're free because, you know, the chains not on your feet and on your hand and on your neck. Alright. You're thinking that you're free, but the chains is on your mind and on your pocket. You know, they remove it from off your neck and your hands and your feet, and it's been attached, it's been reattached to your mind and your pocket. Yeah? That's why when I go to Baruch, let's go ahead, Baruch 3, is a 3 and 8, where it reads, Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. Alright? We are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. Alright? To be subject to payments. That debt that is attached to us from the day that we are born and the day that we have been registered into their system and receive a birth certificate. Yeah, that debt is there. Alright? According to all iniquities of our fathers which depart from the Lord our power, hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in the enemy's land, thou art waxen old in a strange country, thou art defiled with the verse 11, that thou art counted with them that go down to the grave, thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom. For if thou had walkest in the way of Yahweh, thou shouldest have dwelt in peace forever. You understand? And this is the thing here, you know, we are waxing old in a strange country. Alright? In the land of our captivities, and just only subject to debts. You know, as soon as we get paid, a matter of fact, before we could even get paid, our money is being taxed. Alright? Before you could even get paid, your money is being taxed. That's the first thing you have to deal with. And then when you've done that, every other thing, every other bill, whether it's grocery, whether it's electricity, whether your internet bill, no matter what, you know, everything there is a taxation that is attached onto it. Everything there is a taxation attached onto it, and you just have to continue paying. And the thing about it is, no matter how much the taxi people, the debt could never be cleared. Alright? The debt could never, ever be cleared. This is the situation that we are under. And the thing about it is, you know, we as Jakes, a lot of us, you know, we fail to come to the understanding that, you know, the system was designed for us. You know, we so dependent, we so into the system, and we fail to understand that the system was designed to keep us downtrodden. You understand? And we at a junction point here now. Because right now, yeah, that's the right term. We are at a junction point here right now. You know, especially us here, us Drakes here in Trinidad. This is the point where we are at here at the junction right now. Because a lot of you go back to 2010, you know, Trinidad, the people of Trinidad and Tobago don't want to change. Alright, pursuant to the PNM government at the time, and you know, manning in good, manning this, manning that, manning the other. Alright, so we're going to go with the People's Partnership and this and that and the other. So, alright, the UNC came into power. And then a whole set of nonsense had to take place, you know, and the people, they say they get fed up. And I'm speaking about Jake, because at the end of the day, Elam will always be for Elam. No matter what, Elam will be for Elam. Where Jake will abandon their own and go to side with the heathen, not Elam. Elam sticking with Elam. Elam, they could be going through, they could be going through a sticky, shitty situation on the part of their own counterparts, you know, where they had to eat roti and pepper or roti and butter for 5 years. They will go through it, all right, and still stick with the people, still stick with the leaders, no matter what. Not Jake, you know, not Jake, but what I'm saying, you know, Jake, after 2015, Jake decided to go back to PNM, you know. Jake decided to go back to PNM, and PNM come on the scene, and we had 10 years of PNM, and you know, Jake like Rowley ain't doing nothing for me, Rowley this, Rowley that, Rowley the other, Rowley, so we go, yellow is the code, and they bring back in the UNC, and what have you, so forth, and they're getting wood in the ass. They're getting wood in the ass now because everything gone up and all sorts of fines and this and that and the other, you know. So it's like, would we really do that at junction point? But you see, with this junction point that they're at, Shalom. You see, with this junction point where they're at, is like, they're so confused, they don't know where they asked to go. When really and truly the prophet's been out here and showing them the way which is way to ready to go, you know. Because remember, our junction is like a four-way, a four corner, you know, a T intersection, you know. Our junction is like a T intersection, and they really don't know which is the proper channel, which is the proper route to take, the proper direction to take, to alleviate themselves out of this problem. Alright, and we have been showing them. Alright, but they don't want that. Alright, they don't want that. That's why when I go to Isaiah chapter 30 and 1, alright, Isaiah 30 and 1, where it reads, "Woe to the rebellious children, say the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame," all right, "and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." This is the situation that Jake is in right now. The trust in the system, the all for the system and whatnot, so forth. They're in so deep that they think that they actually put Kamala there. When truth and in fact, it's the elites that put Kamala there. You understand? But they're so, yellow is the code, we yellow and ready, you know, and what have you, so forth. They're so into it, they're so connected and well into the system, you know. They're so plugged in, that's what I want to say. They're so plugged in. And the system is fucking them all how, in all different sorts of position. You understand? That they do really, they don't know what to do next. They don't know what next. What is the next move for them? Like for instance, a guy, I can remember a guy for the time and period that Rowley was in power and what have you, so forth. A Jake, you you know, he was all for Rowley being kicked out, and you know, we vote out Rowley, this, that, Kamala. Now Kamala come on the scene because he thought, well, you know, kill he dead jobs and this and that and the other, you know. He was a stunt supporter of this Syrian, his name is Philip Alexander and what have you, so forth. He had all sorts of things to say against Rowley and for the UNC, you know, party and what have you, so forth. And when UNC come in now, it's like, hey, he getting wood in the ass, and you know, Alexander leave him there to rot, you know. And this is why it says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Alright, because he's like, hey, do me a favor. He's at a junction point right now, because for him it's like with the fuck boy, we had no hope power. Because I was against Rowley, because Rowley was doing shit. Alright, we vote out Rowley to bring in Kamala, and now Kamala come and it's like it's from bad to worse this. You know, like what next, Tawada? What next? And the thing about it is, we've been giving you the answers pursuant to what next, because we've been telling you that these people, they are not for your benefit. But no, Jake don't want to hear that. Jake wants the system. Alright? And I think that is what I will name this edification on. Jake don't want the Lord, they want the system. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Jake over in Babylon. They don't want to hear the Lord, they want the system. Alright? Biden and doing this for us, Biden and doing that for us. Biden, fuck Joe Biden, this, that, the other, whatever. Niggers for Trump, you know, Latinos for Trump, this, that, the other. Now they get Trump, and it's like, what the ass we did? You understand? What the ass we did? That is why I say, you know, they're at a junction, and they really don't know what to do, which way to take. Alright, let's look up that word junction. Alright. A junction road, or simply a junction, is a location where two or more roads meet, allowing traffic to change routes, directions, or merge, often controlled by signs, markings, or traffic lights for safe movement. These intersections vary widely from simple crossroads and T-junction to complex highway interchanges designed to manage the flow of vehicles between different parts. Alright, so take a look there at the images, you know, the different images, you know, what have you, so forth. Alright, pursuant to different type of junctions. Alright, so this is where Jake is at a junction. Look this one here. Look this one right here. This T junction here, this T intersection here. This cross intersection here, I would say. Look at it. Alright, and this is where Jake at. Jake don't know if it's a turn left, if it's a turn right, if it's a continue going. They don't know nothing. Alright. The trap. That's basically where they're at. Yeah, the trap. Yeah? The trap. So now, It's like they are at their wits' end. Because everything going sky high, alright? Taxations and all these things taking place. Alright, the government, they're continuing to borrow. Alright, look, we the Prime Minister of Trinidad, alright, she want to borrow 18 point something billion dollars. Alright. And how you think is going to pay back? Well, she done start the process of how that 18 point something billion is going to be paid back. She done start the process. You know, it's the process. Your traffic, the traffic, the increasing of the fines, the doubling and tripling and quadrupling of the fines pursuant to traffic offences. All right. The elimination of jobs. All right. Yeah, the elimination of jobs. The mass elimination of jobs. Okay. Increasing food prices, increasing imports, and what have you, so forth. All these things. So basically, you know, they're pursuing to their actions, you know. We, the man on the ground, have to feel the pain. You understand? That is what it is. That is what it is. And Jake is at that junction point right now, and they really don't know what direction. A matter of fact, they refuse. Again, we give them the solution. We've been out there. Just Sunday go on the Akiam, them was out there in Arima. Today is what, Tuesday coming, you know, the Big Brother Baran them is going to be out there. Alright? Over the weekend there, you had the whole of the brothers, all the Akiam throughout Babylon the Great. They was out there. But you all refuse the solution. You know? You all refuse the solution, man. We've been giving you all the solution as into which direction to take, which is the direction of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Understand? This is where it is. But they don't want that. So it is what it is. That is why I will end off with this last scripture here. It's Proverbs 1 and 20. And while I go to the scripture, Proverbs 1 and 20, wisdom cried without, she uttereth her voice in the streets, she cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates, in the city she uttereth her words, saying, all right, in the city, not in the dirty, stinking, lying church houses, no, in the city, in the streets, in the understand, in the chief concourse, you know. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Alright, fools hate knowledge. Like that guy Jason. All sort of big words he just had to say. But you don't have, you saying all these big words and whatnot, so forth, and yet still it's still fucking dunce. Alright? Yet still is still dunce, because you can't see, you telling me you can't see it. You can't see it for what it is, boy. That these people that do not like you, whether even if it have jakes within the UNC party, within the UNC government, you really think that because what you wait, boy, hey, Jake real fucking stupid, innit? Excuse my language, but I had to be real. You niggas, I had to call you all niggas, man. You niggas really friggin' stupid, man. Because you telling me government go, government come. There's a scripture for that, and I had to look for that scripture, boy. I don't look for that scripture. Alright? You telling me government go, government come, government go, government come. The situation still always been the same from since the inception of our so-called independence, right? So-called. It never changed. It never changed. All right, and we've been voting out this party, bringing in this party, vote out the party, go back to the previous party that we had voted. It's the same thing, and nothing never changed. Nothing never changed, and you can't get the program yet, but you can't tune into the program as yet, but and come to the understanding of what is actually taking place. You so stupid, and not just you, Jason, but you dumb niggas, the rest of you dumb niggas on a whole, on a general scale. You guys can't come to that understanding, but then I already don't know what it says. It says, how long will you, verse 22, how long will you simple ones, will ye love simplicity which goes into stupidity? And scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you, and will make known my words unto you, which is the prophets. Which is the prophets. Because I have called, and ye refuse, I have stretched out my hand, and no man, what? No man regarded. None of you two-third niggas regarded it. You all trusted in the system. Alright, because hey, this is who we vote for. They have to work for us. They are called public servants for a reason. Which public are they serving? They are serving the elites. That's who they are serving. The elites, not you niggas. Alright? But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would not have my reproof. Alright? I also will laugh at your calamity. And the Lord is laughing at you all right now. We, the prophets, is laughing at you all right now. We've been laughing at you all. Especially in a time like now that we are living in. Alright, we've been laughing at you all. Look what's taking place in Babylon. Actual tyranny is taking place in Babylon right now at the moment. Even here in Trinidad. Tyranny is taking place. In Trinidad, it's just building up right now. But in Babylon the Great, the tyranny is actually showing its horns. It's actually manifesting and showing itself. You know? Tyranny is taking place, and you guys can't see it. You Jakes can't see it. Esau see it. Esau know what's happening. In Babylon the Great, Esau know what's happening. Alright? We've been giving it to you all, and you all don't want to hear. So it says, word reach, because I have called and ye refuse, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded, but ye have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity here. This is word reach here. I will mock when your fear cometh. So yeah, we've been laughing at you all. And we've been mocking at you all. Alright? We've been laughing and we've been mocking at you all. For a very long period of time, and we're going to laugh at you all even more. Alright, because as I said, as I was saying before I was interrupted there, you know, tyranny is taking place. Esau Edom is seeing it. You Jakes cannot see it. And when it drop on you all head like a pot of hot coals, we're going to laugh even more. Because you know what, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh, you are the system. That is what you want. You want the system. So the Lord said, but when your fear cometh as desolation and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, yeah, when the system come to a crashing halt and no benefits, no nothing, especially for you Eves, especially for you so-called nigger woman, yeah, especially for you all, yeah, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then they shall call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel, they despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. And this is what is taking place right now. This is what is taking place right now, because and they say they wanted Kamala, and they say they wanted Trump, and what have you, so forth, and they say they wanted the system on a whole. Well, right. All right. That death clock, that plays a major integral part within the system. That, a matter of fact, that death clock is the system. That death clock is the system. All right. It is the system. It is the main function of the system. All right, and it's coming, and that system is coming to a crashing halt. And when it comes to that crashing halt, and everything sort of freaking get all chaotic and what have you, so forth, don't worry, they will come to you all with the ultimate solution. Alright? Verse 32, for the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall what? Shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from the fear of evil. Because a great evil is coming upon the face of the earth. Alright? A great evil is coming upon the face of the earth. And you all is going to get caught with your, a lot of you all is going to get caught with your pants down. So I hope you all are edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, your brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp. Signing out. Saying Kal Halayam, La Alahaya Nawa, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, the bishops, the elders, a great millstone that rule well. Salutation unto the brothers who preach and teach on the truth through the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and the freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat. The brother Kahan signing out, saying Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.